In 1971, a British crime film titled Get Carter was released. It was written and directed by Mike Hodges, marking his debut as a director. The movie starred Michael Caine, Ian Hendry, John Osborne, Britt Eklund, and Brian Moseley. It is based on Ted Lewis's 1970 novel Jack Returns Home. The plot follows Jack Carter, played by Michael Caine, a small-time criminal working in London for the Fletcher brothers. When he learns about his brother's death in Newcastle under suspicious circumstances, Carter leaves London and returns to his hometown to arrange the funeral. While preparing for the burial, he becomes obsessed with uncovering who killed his brother and why, refusing to accept a police report that deemed it a suicide. Carter interrogates his brother's friends and acquaintances, but encounters a wall of silence. Trusting his instincts, he follows a disreputable chauffeur named Eric, played by Ian Hendry, to the house of local crime boss Kinnear, who surprisingly welcomes him. Before leaving, Carter receives a warning to return to London before causing trouble. Ignoring the warning, he is soon targeted for assassination. After narrowly escaping, he is rescued by Glenda, Kinnear's girlfriend, played by Geraldine Moffat, who takes him to her house, where they become intimate. Later, Carter discovers a pornographic film featuring his late brother's young daughter. From that moment, he embarks on a path of vengeance against those involved in his brother's death, leading the story to a shocking conclusion. The production transitioned from novel to film in about 8 months, with principal photography occurring between July and September 1970. The aim of the film was to present a more realistic depiction of violence and criminal behavior compared to many earlier British films. The director was initially surprised that Michael Caine wanted to play Carter. Caine explained that his working-class background and having friends and family involved in crime made him feel that Carter's story could have been his own in different circumstances. One notable scene features a beach blackened by coal, dumped via a conveyor system from a mine, a common sight on the East Durham coast at the time. In the 2000s, significant funds were invested to dismantle these conveyors and accompanying concrete towers, as well as to clean tons of coal waste from the beaches in a project named Turning the Tide. Hodges chose the beach for its bleak and desolate atmosphere, but when they returned to shoot the scene, the beach was bathed in sunlight, which clashed with the intended somber tone. They had to wait for hours until the sun set, and the overcast lighting matched their needs. Shortly after the film's release, Michael Caine encountered the gangster whose life partly inspired the story in London's West End. The gangster harshly criticized the film, claiming no gangster in the world was like Jack Carter, without a wife, children, or responsibilities. After debating with him, Caine ultimately agreed with his perspective and left. The house used as Cyril Kinnear's residence had a genuine connection to organized crime. It had recently been the country home of Vince Landa, a northeastern fruit machine tycoon who fled the country in 1969 after the murder of his right-hand man, Angus Sibbett. Many believe this crime was part of a failed attempt by the Cray twins to control Newcastle's underworld. While the production studio dismissed the location's connection as coincidental, writer-director Mike Hodges was fully aware of its significance and chose it intentionally. The production employed numerous extras, many of whom were locals present during filming. Others were selected from a local casting agency, including Deanna Wilde, who was cast as the pub singer. She was known off-screen for her colorful personality, often seen with a walking stick and using colorful language regardless of her company. Her spirited character added liveliness wherever she went in Newcastle. In the final scene, the assassin is identified only by a J on his ring. This character was played by Carl Howard in his only film role, and his identity remained a mystery. His name was omitted from the credits of some copies of the film. Director Mike Hodges explained that Howard had been an extra in a TV film he directed in 1970. After an error in crediting another extra for Howard's line in that project, Hodges promised to include him in Get Carter, but Howard's name was again left off some original prints. This oversight persisted in later publications, adding an air of mystery to his involvement. Britt Ekland, the film's glamorous blonde actress, was initially reluctant to join the cast, fearing typecasting after already portraying two gangsters' girlfriends. She was also uneasy about the nudity required in the role. However, financial troubles due to poor investments by her accountant compelled her to accept. After the film, Ekland expressed regret over cosmetic surgeries later in life, particularly lip fillers that did not yield the expected results and attracted unfavorable media attention. If you haven't seen Get Carter, take the time to watch it. It's an excellent film, and Michael Caine delivers a remarkable performance as a gangster.